This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com.
Hey everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Today we are going to be doing the top 10 skirmish games of all time. Now there's a small criteria that I put in for this, and that is that it has to be played on a small area or a small board, meaning that landscape, you can have scenery and all that stuff, but skirmish games like Flames of War, bolt action, those type of games are not going to be on this list. I wanted to make them a skirmish board game. So thinking of what I've played lately and in the past, these are ones that I did off the top of my head. Now I probably missed some and stuff like that, but these are the ones that really came to me and really I felt that were the best of the best. So let's start without any further ado. At number 10 is Kill Team. Now, which version of Kill Team? I think you go to the first one, even though the latest one has been pretty good, especially with the Space Hulk type of atmosphere that you have. It's a fun game. It's good. It's solid. The scenery is ridiculous, the models are ridiculous, and I think that's what really kind of sets it apart and saves it in a lot of instances, and that's why Kill Team is on this list. At number 9, well, another Games Workshop game, and that is Warcry. Warcry is basically Kill Team only in a fantasy setting. Very, very good, very solid. Again, the terrain, the small board, it's everything that you kind of want, but without having huge massive battles, and it kind of keeps things condensed. I think these small skirmish games were created for a reason, and that is to kind of really get people to go do Age of Sigmar, to go do 40K. Was this successful? Who knows? But these two games stand on their own, and they do a very good job at doing that. Even though I think Warcry is almost dead. At number 8, I had to put this in here. I think it's a decent game, and that's Deadzone. I think it's just a little bit better, a little bit deeper than Kill Team and Warcry. Does a very, very nice job of what it does. I enjoy it a lot. It has that old Warhammer 40K feel, which I really enjoy. There's just something about those orcs that really give you that old school feel with a newer style. The game plays better. It's solid. It's a solid system on its 3rd edition, and hats off to Deadzone. And number 7, Core Space. Core Space is fantastic. And when I think of this list, and I put this list together, these are all very, very, very good games. And to be anywhere on this list really speaks volumes for it to pop in my head. I think Core Space is probably one of the best science fiction. You're a bunch of rogue traders, and you're running around, and there's all kinds of different things happen on this small little imprint, and it does everything so well. And again, I always talk about the randomness, trying to fit the weapons and the things to carry onto that little tableau that they have, which is really good, because the different sizes, the more powerful weapon, the bigger the chit and harder to find. And then of course the treasure chest, you never know what you're going to find. You pull out of a bag and stuff them in there, and you're running around, and you can just get some really great weapons, or you can get a bunch of junk, to be honest with you. At number 6, Warhammer Underworlds. Now, not any particular one, but this is where we really kind of start to hit the stride of what I consider a true skirmish board game. And what this does is, you have a few models, a lot of card play, a lot of your uncertainty. You're thinking, oh well, here comes some corn beastmen or something, whatever it could be coming at me, and I know that they're pretty strong, but then all of a sudden you get played a card or something that misdirects and things like that. You never know what that person has in the hand and how you're going to build your deck to supplement your skirmish team. And the games are never the same. They're a lot of fun, and it's one of the better things that Games Workshop has done in the recent years. At number 5 is Skytear. This is played on a board. You've got 2 different factions. You can get a whole bunch of different factions. I've played this a number of times with my son. It kind of sits in the middle here because it's not one of the best, but it's not one of the worst either. And not that any of these games are bad, but this is just a middle of the road type of game for me. I think it's very good. It's a solid skirmish game, and it really plays quickly, a lot of fun, and beautiful models, as do most of these have. At number 4, this game I think would be a lot higher if it wasn't for the overpriced. And there's been some debate about it, but Onslaught is very good. It's good. I think the thing that you do is when you open up the box, you lay it on the table, and you kind of put everything out, and it's not the greatest quality. The miniatures are decently painted. You can't complain about that. And anytime you open up a box and you got painted miniatures, hey, but the price, even at Miniature Market, $139. Okay, some places you get it for about $100, but still, I think they could have done a lot better with it. But the gameplay, if you look past some of the things, it's fun. Plain and simple, it's fun. And the expansions, even though they're almost like $40, I've seen other things that you get a few miniatures, so I can't complain about the expansions, but they're solid. I've seen people playing them. I haven't picked up them for myself yet, but just going on the core set of Onslaught, it is fun, and that's what's most important. If this comes down in price, I think this is a lot higher, and I can recommend it a lot better. But I also try to think about your guys' pocketbooks in a lot of ways. But a good, solid game, Onslaught, Dungeons and Dragons. Check it out. At number 3 is a game that I'll tell you, I would have argued between 1 or 2 until a game that recently came out. But at number 3, Mythic has its problems. Mythic has all kinds of things going wrong for it. In so many different ways. But a game, and I know, I'm pretty sure that this game has been sold over to CMON. I could be wrong. But Super Fantasy Brawl, we've done it live here. My son and I have played it, and we've had a blast mauling each other at it. It is just one of those games that is skirmish and does everything right. It really does. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy playing it. I painted up a whole bunch of it. The miniatures are beautiful in it, and it's one of those games that really catches you by surprise until you really get into it and you start going with it. And just a tremendous skirmish board game. And Super Fantasy Brawl has to be considered one of the best out there, and I really do enjoy it, regardless of the whole mythic thing. I mean, you put that aside. At number two is Masters of the Universe Clash for Eternia, a game that has recently come out from CMON. First of all, this is tremendous. There's so much for it. It's so good. It plays so well. The miniatures are beautiful. The scenarios are smart. The solo play is glorious. The cards, everything about it. If you are a fan of Masters of the Universe, you're going to love this game. If you are not a fan of Masters of the Universe, you are going to love this game. This is just great. I mean, that's the only way I can put it. It is just one of those games that I'm just blown away by so far this year. And it just does everything I can ask it to do. And it does it fantastically. Masters of the Universe, Clash for Eternia. If you have a chance to get it, because it's one print run and that's it, folks. Okay? And you don't want to be left behind on this one. I'm telling you right now, this is a classic and a must-have. But there's only one game at number one, folks. And I think it's something that you forget about. It's underrated. I think it doesn't get the love that it deserves. They've recently added solo play, I think in the last year, not that recently. But Wildlands is so good. It's so good. I've painted the box set. You know, I've gotten my hands on everything that I can for it. And I just think it is just one of those superb games that plays so well. It's so smart. It does everything right. The different boards that they had for it, they came out with all different types of factions, and the way you just play it, there's even solo rules for it. If you haven't played this from Osprey Games, it is just a fantastic game. Check out the rules video on it if you're on the fence about it. From Rodney Smith, he did a fantastic job on it. Wildlands is a game that I still play, and it's been around for a couple years now. And it's just one of those games I'll never get rid of, that is permanently in my collection. And as far as skirmish games, it's just the way it does everything. The card play on it, how smart it is, the decisions that you make, the sacrifices that you make. Wildlands is just one of those very rare skirmish board games that just stands out and is timeless. And I highly suggest that you check it out. I think you'll really like it. Now, a lot of people said, well, you can count a dungeon crawl as a skirmish game. No, I'm just considering group on group type of things, enemy on enemy. And but there were a couple things that I kind of left out that I wanted to mention. Street Fighter, I thought that was very good. We changed a couple of rules, and that's why I kind of left it off this list. But the components through the roof, how beautiful it is through the roof. It is trying to combo cards and stuff like that, but it just didn't fit on this list. And I wanted to make mention of that. I'm sure I forgot something, but I like doing these things off the top of my head. And the reason I do that is because I always feel that if I think of a skirmish game off the top of my head, it is something that is going to stick and stay there. And for me, that means that game made an impression on me. And that's why I make these lists the way I do. Do I forget things? Yeah, probably. And a lot of times I go, oh man, that really kind of needed to be on the list. But that's why it's just a list at the end of the day, pretty much. So I hope you enjoyed this. Top 10 skirmish games by Rob of all time, I guess. And until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody.